Welcome to Schmactors, a podcast series that seeks to answer the question, are Hollywood actors all spoiled, vapid, vacuous, and vain ingrates, or do some of them actually have interesting views on issues of the day? Or is it a mixed bag? James Marsters and Mark Devine are putting themselves to the test. They're leaving it up to you to decide if they're interesting or just plain nuts. Listen as they peel back their craniums, share the surprising thoughts that fill their heads, and draw back the curtain on the world's zaniest town. Hello, James and Mark. How are we today?
Oh, I'm good.
Wow.
I'm feeling less vacuous than normal.
It's a fantastic intro. I want to thank, first off, James for being here. I know you've got a crazy busy schedule. I have a crazy busy schedule too. Jason, yeah. I guess you've got enough free time. So I'm just grateful. I know you've worked with some big shots, as I understand.
Yeah, but we're going to shoot big, Mark. We're going to shoot big. This show is going to be huge.
I had to move to Georgia to get away from all the fakeness out in Los Angeles. And I thought, this is, my ideal was like, get the white picket fence, which we have, and like open a jelly store and jams, and have Katie and I run it. And
could you have a bow tie in this?
Yeah, so I wear the apron, that,
perfect.
Is it wine o'clock, that apron, just to get a laugh from the customers, because that always sets them off saying, yeah, it's wine o'clock, and I just laugh. And then I ask what, right now we only have strawberry preserves, but
you have a twinkle in your eye when you say it.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of a wink.
Yeah, everyone loves Mr. Devine. Yeah.
But what's amazing is, like, I think anywhere in the world, we're both somehow recognized. I think, James, you told me a story about Paul McCartney. He allows you a certain amount of minutes to like be in awe.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't you tell me that?
Nope.
And then he just wants you to. Didn't you meet Paul McCartney? Did you lie to me?
I did not. No, I didn't.
You met John Lennon outside of the Dakota. You said.
I've dreamt that I met Paul McCartney.
Okay.
He's a dick. I woke up. It was the worst dream of my life.
Oh no!
My God, I was just full body sweat. Paul McCartney doesn't like me, and Paul McCartney likes everyone except me for some reason. Like he saw right through me, and like he didn't like me, and he was right. That was the horror of the dream, is that he pegged me. He was wise, and he hated me. And so, Jason, I'm excited to do, I remember when you called me and asked me if I wanted to participate in this with Mark.
There's this misconception, I believe, with actors, where everybody thinks that you all are Spicoli all the time. We call it the Spicoli effect.
Mm-hmm.
And, I've lived in Los Angeles for 25 years, and I've met many actors.
Yeah.
And while there are a few Spicolis out there, I found that the vast majority of actors do have a very sharp and fine intellect, and they never get a chance to flex that in front of the public because they're reading things other people write for them.
Yeah.
So I thought this would be a great stage for you two.
Wow.
Exactly.
Wow.
The thing I think about actors is we are pretty intelligent, because actually to memorize all that dialogue and be able to take a bunch of notes and make it look effortless it does take some brain power. Like when a concert pianist makes their performance look effortless, they get a standing ovation. When a gymnast makes it look effortless, they get a gold medal. But when an actor makes something look effortless, people go, oh, I could do that. Because it looks like real life.
That's right.
So we don't get credit for doing that. The thing I will say about actors, we are self-involved, because our job is to focus on the minutia of our character and our character's journey. And I always like to say I'm the department head of the little tiny department of James Marsters. So
that's right.
I need my job is to be focused on how my hair looks, how my costume looks, whether I know my lines, and what my motivation is. And it's all very self-focused. And I'm working with producers and directors who are focused on the entire machine, and they are thinking of a million different details. And then I come up to them and say, I don't think I would say that. And it's very frustrating. But then if they listen to me, oftentimes, if we can talk about it, they'll say, oh my gosh, you're right. I can't focus on all of the minutia, but you're actually right. We need to change that line or your reaction to something. And so it's frustrating to work with actors. I have directed little tiny theater in Chicago and Seattle. I produced, and it is frustrating when you're trying to operate a huge machine to have someone come in and say, "No, I want you to pay attention to this little tiny detail." And I look at actors, and they're all completely self-focused, and it's very easy to think that they're all idiots.
Yeah.
And so I think that that's part of why we are portrayed in film as being clueless and selfish bastards. But the thing is, if I'm not self-focused on the set, I'm not doing my job, you know?
Well, and even at home, when doing things around the house for my wife, where I'm in the midst of, my character wouldn't do that right now. And I've got to be prepared because I've got, one day with one line. And if I screw up that one line, guess what?
You're in trouble with the wife.
No apple juice for the kid. Yeah. And there have been times too, and I digress. I know Jason wants to get to I love that people have questions. What blows me away is that no actors have thought about doing a podcast,
I know. I think there's an untapped market here.
I love that Jason had this idea to do this. And
so anyway, we're not idiots. We're just completely self-involved. And it appears that we're stupid because of that.
Did that answer was there a question? What was the question
Not
again?
yet.
We haven't gotten to a question yet. Are you guys ready for your first question?
I am ready. I'm so ready. I'm caffeinated.
Sure.
Yeah.
I love helping young actors.
Well, this first question comes from the internet. It comes from James T. Solo, and he asks, if you could wake up as yourself in a fictional universe tomorrow, which would you choose? Star Trek, Star Wars, or Middle Earth?
Oh, I would definitely choose Star Trek. There's just less jerks in Star Trek. Like Star Trek is like a utopian universe where everyone pretty much is fairly mature. And if there's a jerk, everyone's like, who let him in the pool? But like Middle Earth, it's full of jerks. It's full of orcs and they're trying to cut you to pieces and you're always running and sweating and hiding in the ferns. Not Middle Earth. Star Wars, there's always, every time you feel safe and comfortable in Star Wars, Sith comes out and starts hacking you with a red lightsaber, trying to have fondue with your girlfriend, red lightsaber, and you can't have a moment's peace. If you're a little furry creature in the jungle, big what do you call those things? Big robots come in and start firing on you, and it's just bedlam all the time. I would not want that universe. I would want Star Trek, where you just have tea, Earl Grey, hot, and then you just have tea and talk to the captain, and he's like, I think the wise decision, the one that wouldn't hurt these people, might be this, and it's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. What is Middle Earth? What is that?
That is Lord of the Rings. And you get Aragorn, and that's cool. And you get Frodo, and there's some nice people in there, but they're always getting attacked by jerks.
Do they drive cars?
No, they have no cars. They have to walk everywhere. They don't have any bicycles, unicycles. They don't have a boat. They're just walking like every day for miles.
Because I'm thinking, I'm sorry. I turned down a lot of this stuff, Star Trek and,
no more. That hurts.
What?
That hurts. It's Trek.
What?
It's a Trek.
What did I say?
It's not a track, a Star Trek. What is that, a Star Trek? Like a big
with
train
Ed
through
McMahon?
the stars? No, it's Trek. This is painful to me to hear that.
I would like to do Star Trek.
Trek. Okay.
And I like the freeze frame when they laugh at the end, because everything is always just okay. The trouble with Tribbles. And Tribbles were just this little tiny furry creature that everyone loved, and it made you feel good just to hold one. But the thing is, they reproduced like crazy, and they took over the whole ship. And they were actually transporting quadrotriticale, which was a certain grain that could only grow on one planet, and they were going to save all of these. What? This is
Well, if you're going to come to the world of Star Trek, you have to get into the minutia of what grain will grow on that planet so that the frontier people won't die.
Yeah.
And all the tribbles, my point being, they ate all the grain, and they are the villains. Actually, surprisingly, the villains of this thing. And then they had to ask themselves to survive, do we save the grain and save the colonists, or do we kill, and if we save the colonists, we're going to have to kill all these tribbles that we've frankly fallen in love with. And what do? You know? And you know what they did, Mark?
They left.
They murdered all of the tribbles in the most horrifying way that was easiest for them morally because they didn't have to watch it. But what they did is they just transported all of the tribbles into space.
Yeah.
And so all of these cute little furry things are like, I can't breathe. Oh, I'm freezing to death. Oh my God, how dare you? And they were like, ha, 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 ha. And then Scotty's like, I transported them in the middle of space, sir, so there'd be no tribble at all. Ha, 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 and freeze frame out.
And then they freeze frame. That's the best parts of Star Trek, right at the end.
So for you, it's Star Trek?
Just at the very, very end, just the freeze frame. I'd like to live in that freeze frame.
I think you remember an entirely different television show, but I like the one that you're describing.
You sure? Because I watched it in the 70s. My father really loved it.
When did you start taking drugs? Because, I mean, it was
14.
I don't want to destroy one of the few good memories with your dad, but I don't think that actually happened. I think that was a dream.
Well, because he's the one that said this is in the 70s. He said there's a study on the, our analogy for our pull out of Afghanistan.
Well, okay. Well, you know what, Mark? I'm going to give you that memory. You need as much as you can. Yes, yes. Your father loved you. Okay, next, I think we got to the bottom of that one.
I think so.
I think we pierced the veil. Yep.
Christian from Hattiesburg, Mississippi wants to know, what's the weirdest thing you've done in front of a mirror?
Oh, man. That's good. Have you taken a selfie of yourself naked?
Oh, yeah.
But that was in a mirror, right?
Well, yeah, because when you're doing a shirt off scene,
yeah,
or when you're part of a story arc that you're going to have your shirt off, or if you're just going to be in a sock, you really want to know what the camera is how you photograph nude.
Yeah.
And you want to get really honest about it. Like, have I starved myself enough that I'm ready, or do I still need to be starving myself to get ready? So you start taking pictures. I start taking pictures of myself in the mirror because what looks good enough in 3D, suddenly you put it in 2D and things get real.
Mine was, all these, self-help books, what's the guy's name that just is weird, the Tony Danza. Tony Danza books. I'd read Tony Danza books like crazy, and he'd say like, when you wake up in the morning, change the inflection of your voice. It'll make you feel better. Also, your body doesn't know you're acting. So go in front of the mirror and smile and laugh. So I started doing that, to make myself feel better. And I'd be like, and it never made me feel happy, So I kept trying harder and harder. And then I got that moment of like, seeing myself do it. And I thought, this is the dumbest thing ever. Now let me tell you this. Did that make sense?
Yeah.
It didn't work for me.
I don't know why you'd have to do it in front of a mirror, though. Like, Tony Danza was wrong.
Well, Tony Danza knows what he's talking about as far as, he's got an empire built on this stuff,
Okay.
It works for a lot of people. But I have done this when I'm driving, and I know everybody's done this. I wanted to see what I look like smiling because there's natural light out there. And so I tilted the rear view mirror down and smiled to myself. And I'm like, I don't like that smile. And then kind of turn my head like I'm seeing somebody for the first time going, hey, but then like there are girls next to me, just seeing me do that. Yeah. So then they see me like turning and going, hey, to me, as I'm the only one. And then I just pretend like I've lost something on the ground.
Good cover.
But have you done that?
Yeah. Is my fake smile working?
Look
today?
real. Yeah. Jason?
Oh, no, I've been caught singing Weird Al at the top of my lungs, and a bunch of hot girls were in the car next to me. So I did the same trick with trying to pick up my change from the floor, and that worked.
I think that's dead sexy, brother. I think that's cool.
I like that. Okay.
All right. Next question.
Doug from Chicago wants to know, what are your favorite songs from your teenage years that you still rock out to when nobody else is listening?
Oh, that's a good.
I don't care if anyone's listening to me rock out to the stuff that I was listening to when I was a teenager, because it's just the best music in the world, and that's all there is to it.
What is it?
Oh, come on. It was the golden age of music,
but
man.
What is like your go-to? What is your go-to where you're like, I'm cranking this and I don't give
Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young, Jimi Hendrix.
Oh, yeah, you're from the hippie generation.
Yeah, there was all of that still. There's Bob Marley and the Wailers, rocking out to, there's Stones and Beatles. There's
the Letterman.
The Letterman?
Yeah.
I don't even know them.
That's from the 50s, and that's what my mom would rock out to.
Okay, good. There's the Dead Kennedys, there's the Sex Pistols, there's the Clash.
Now, you and I, okay, so for
Talking Heads. Sorry.
Yeah, Jackson likes the Talking Heads. Everything's Coming Up Flowers. He loves everything flowers, so we play Everything's Coming Up Flowers from Talking Heads, which he loves. But I'm a huge Tool fan. I love Tool.
There we go.
Because they have such a small catalog.
Mm-hmm.
But I will play that. And Katie's always knows like I'm going through something when I'm playing that, and then Radiohead. But old 80s stuff that our stuff is, I hated it at the time, man. I hated the 80s music at the time. And we didn't get the Dead Kennedys, we didn't get the Sex Pistols.
Oh, I'm a little bit older than you are, yeah, because I was I became
they didn't play that on the radio, did they?
No, I wasn't listening to the radio.
Well, that's see, I didn't have an older brother.
Yeah.
I don't know how you got that.
Tom Petty, he was on the radio.
Yeah, no, I knew Tom Petty, but it was Don't Come Around Here No More that they played every 5 seconds on MTV. So I'm like, this guy's annoying.
But that's 80s again. I remember my teenage years primarily in the 70s because I graduated high school in 1980. I was 18. And I guess I did have 2 more teenage years after that, but I really, when I think of teenage music, it's all the 70s stuff.
Well, that's great music, but you and I had a huge argument one time in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame that you thought the Sex Pistols were better than the Eagles.
By far! Oh my!
And I don't believe that's to be true because there's no Sex Pistols don't do harmony. Their music isn't about, geez, Luis, get a tan, relax, take it easy. It's okay.
Sex Pistols, they were making a very cogent point about the entire economic system of the UK at that time, which is that there was no planning economically for a whole generation, that they were flushing a whole generation down the tubes and not giving them education and not giving them jobs, and they were saying, guys, we are going to burn the country down because you don't care about us. There's no future for us.
That's what the Eagles were saying too. But they just did it like in harmony and in like, you know what? We're going to just get in this truck and we're just going to drive down Sunset Boulevard, guys, because that's just the way it goes. Now, truly, we had a guy taking us around when we were having this argument, and he just was closing his eyes. And he said, I just think it's absolutely abject stupidity to be talking about who's better, the Sex Pistols or the Eagles. And I said, I know, right? He's like, no, you don't know. And I said, you mean are you a Eagles fan? Obviously. And he's like, no, it's not about that. The whole argument is so stupid. And that's when we were asking, like, where is REO Speedwagon? We're like, why isn't REO Speedwagon in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Yeah, we were just messing with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, like asking where all the stupid acts from the 70s
we're like,
and 80s.
What do you have to do to get into this thing, and where is REO Speedwagon?
Yeah, like what were those people on MTV that ended up lip syncing?
Yeah, Milli Vanilli.
Yeah, we're like, so where's? Did you have like Milli Vanilli's tracksuits? Like, girl, I would love to touch that satin. Right, and they try to be polite, and it's like,
yeah, whatever music makes you feel good, rock it out, no matter what. And then we're Cobain. We're Cobain dudes for sure. Pearl Jam. I'm just the biggest fan of Pearl Jam. Now that's old hat and that's uncool. I went to see them probably more than any band. And then I was like the oldest guy there, and like I noticed like the younger kids, they're not watching. They're not really into it.
Smells like middle-aged spirit. Just doesn't have the same ring to it, It doesn't have it. Doesn't sound so cool.
Yes. Oh,
all right, next question.
Sherry from Joliet wants to know, when you go to a new place, do you plan everything or do you rely on serendipity and just go where the wind takes you?
Wind takes me for sure. I don't like to plan anything.
Have you always been like that?
Yeah. Well, okay. Wait a minute. Do I have to be honest?
Yeah.
Am I being honest right now? Oh, okay. If I'm being honest, I have been on 2 vacations in the last 25 years. So I don't have a lot of experience to draw from.
What do you mean vacation?
Like where you take time off of work, I think is what it is.
Yeah.
I don't do that. I enjoy my job, I guess. And I'm also trying to get kids through college, I guess. I'm just not big on vacations. But if I take a virtual vacation in my mind.
Should take a cruise.
No.
Disney cruise.
Well, when I'm playing video games.
Yeah.
My favorite part of video games is actually not going on all the missions, which are all the planned stuff. I like to just walk around the world to see what happens. So I think I would be the unplanned guy. That's my version of vacation is my life in video games.
So when you go to like a party or something, you kind of understand like I'm going to stay this amount of time and I'm going to present myself in a certain way. I hope it goes like this, or we're just going to go and just have a good time.
The latter. You just go in and be annoyingly enthusiastic about everything everyone says. Hey, man, how's it going, man? That's fucking cool. Oh, you got a tie on. I love ties. Next. And like, that's what I do. It works. They think you're an idiot. People probably think I'm an idiot, but they generally talk to me. So.
I remember going to my 10-year reunion and did you go back to any reunions, James?
No, I have never been back to a reunion because the first couple of reunions, I was so poor. I did not want to go back and be judged, because I left high school and they're like, "You're going on to do theater. You're going to be a famous actor." And oh my God. And then the years go by and I'm actually doing theater and it's actually kind of working and I'm moving up in that world, but I'm not making any money. There's no money to be made. And people don't care if you're at a really well-reviewed semi-professional play in Chicago that got great reviews. That, if they don't see it on television, you're a failure. So I didn't want to go back and have to, explain that over and over again. And then after I got on TV, I was really afraid that I would go back and be all like, "Hey, I'm all that. What do you think of me now?" I thought that's how I was. Jerk. Yeah.
That's how I was. Yeah. just from being, my first jobs on television were a Conan show. Mm-hmm. They just had me come because it was Louis C.K. and Robert Smigel and Dino Stephanopoulos and it felt like just dudes, like your college buddies doing all this stuff. So we just do these ridiculous, little skits, but that was good enough for my little school in Kansas.
Oh yeah.
And of course, going back to this question, I'm just like, it's going to get intense and crazy. And I'm going to go in there and allow people to, like Paul McCartney, get kind of crazy for a while. And then I'm just going to say, listen, I hurt like you, I'm still Sparky Devine. and as I presented myself, I look back on it like I was horrible.
I would imagine.
I was terrible.
Yeah.
It was just because I was so scared because we go through that thing of like, how am I presenting myself? How?
So did people like, what?
No, nobody really wanted to talk to me. And then I remember this girl said, well, you're having a good time. And because I was just like that imitation you just did. Yay, fantastic tie. Hi, Jim. How are you? Just so fake because I'm so uncomfortable. I have no self-worth, no self-esteem. And I'm like, it's got to go like this. It's going to go like this. I'll show them. I'll show everybody. And it was just awful.
Okay, Jason, what was the question? How far are we from the question?
The question was, when you go to a new place, do you plan everything or do you rely on serendipity and just go where the wind takes you?
Oh, okay. Yeah. I have no idea because I
Me too.
I haven't been on vacation, so I haven't done nothing but video games for that. I don't know.
But a new place could be like my house in Georgia. Would you plan for this and think, I'm just going to stay with Mark for a little bit because I don't know if I can take two fucking dogs and a kid screaming?
Yeah, I like that. I like that thing. Like, what do you want to do? I don't know. Let's go see what's out there. You know?
Yeah.
It's kind of a discovery. I don't want to have a plan that I have to fail at or accomplish. I do that in life. I just want to go relax and see what happens.
Yeah, I like that too.
All right, we're getting to the end of the first episode here, so we're going to end on an easy one.
Okay.
You guys ready?
I'm ready.
Craig from Plymouth, North Carolina would like to know, since you are both parents, would you ever let your children listen to smooth jazz?
Oh, wow. Oh, God, you're breaking my heart.
Smooth jazz, like, boy, there's some really tough smooth jazz.
Oh, Kenny G, man.
Who's Kenny G? Yeah. No, Kenny G, and then who's the David Sanborn, I guess. Yeah. Oh, no, that's Chuck Mangione. Yeah, 1,000% Chuck Mangione.
Yeah, okay.
How can you not like?
Yeah, I know. That's like that. That's the exception that proves the rule. That's the one smooth jazz that's actually listened.
Yeah.
Oh man. See, I didn't have this experience. My son was exactly the opposite. He calls me up one time and he goes, "Dad, I just discovered the most awesome dude on iTunes. He freaking rocks hard. Who is it? Louis Armstrong. You should check him out." And I was like, "Oh, yeah. I love that." So he was always like turning me on to really good music, like Modest Mouse. He let me know about.
Yeah.
God, who else? So many good Iron and Wine. He let me know about.
Yeah. Slipknot.
No, he never really came to me with that.
Oh, you got to check them out.
Well, if he'd have said that he was into smooth jazz, I would have probably done the parental kind of thing, like the deep breath. Well, that's okay, son. That's okay. And then I'd get off the phone and cry. Oh, boy. I would, yes, because you can't control kids anyway. They're going to do, if I tell him don't listen to smooth jazz, he would listen to only smooth jazz, just, to rebel and be his own person, so reverse psychology. That's great, son. That's great.
I'm okay if he knows dad. Boy, I tell Jackson, and he's only 4. I said, dude, I used to be cool. My body didn't always look like this, because he sees me naked, Yeah. And I go to this church thing talking about, how to introduce your kids to new technology that they're going to see, and they're talking about, they even brought up smooth jazz, every now and then it might be nice to, just show your son how to dance to smooth jazz with your shirt off. And I'll show him that. And he screams, stop.
Maybe it's more the shirt off than the music, though, Have you ever asked him if he wants to look at you that way?
No, but I want him to show, I want to show him that I'm a man and that all of us have nipples and that's okay.
Okay.
And these skin tags, I don't want to tell the doctor about just yet.
Yeah, that's a hard one. Okay, here's a question for you. Would you rather have him listening to smooth jazz or Slipknot?
Slipknot, for sure.
Really?
Well, Slipknot's message is clearer,
But, whatever puts them to sleep. At 4 years old, whatever will get them to the nap and or the end of the day might be a good thing, at least for the parents.
Well, we need to get him to stop eating his own feces.
Anyway, I think this is a very successful first episode. I think that we have illuminated that actors have opinions. I think we've definitely at least gotten there. And as a maiden voyage goes, I think it could be worse.
It could always get worse.
Oh, I think it will. I'm excited about that. Because with you, Mark, when it gets worse, it gets really good.
Thanks for listening to Schmactors. Join James and Mark next time for more pointed pontification on the topics of the day. Do you have a burning question that you just can't wait to have the guys answer? Well, then head on over to schmactors.com and send it our way. If the answer won't get them canceled, we'll add it to the queue. And if you have a friend who you think would enjoy the show, use the share button in your podcast player and send it to them directly. Trust me, it'll make their day. Signing off for James and Mark, this is producer Jason. Until we meet again.